My brother.
My bro.
Such an immense pleasure to have you on.
Yes,
I've been
sir.
truly looking forward to this moment. Having the one and only Chris Matic here to join us and bless you with your presence. Bless us with your presence of being on the
bro.
podcast. I appreciate you coming out, taking the time to have the conversation, share your insights and the gems that I know you're going to drop throughout this.
My brother.
You've had a long road already in the history of being in your career of the music game, already being as young as you are. What inspired you to want to start making music initially?
What truly inspired me? Man, my community, growing up in Jamaica, being raised in Spanish Town, which is in St. Catherine, is a very cultural place, very eccentric, very rich in spirit and vibes. And I believe that music kind of had a special calling for me as a creative child, as a creative human being. I was just drawn to the creation of sound, music, lyrics, from poetry to reading to, stage performances, etc. So it's something that I realized from as around 8 to 9 years old that, this is something that I was really interested in. I invested a lot of time in it.
Wow. From a young age.
From a young age. And then obviously like RTCs during that time period and stuff played a major role in my influence.
Like who? Who are some
Bob
of your favorites?
Marley.
The one and only.
Yeah, man, the one and only Bob Marley. Big up, Bob. Marvin Gaye. Andre 3000. If we're staying in the reggae element, Dennis Brown. If we're going in the dancehall element, Vibes Cartel. A lot of artists, a lot of musicians, all over the place.
That's interesting that you list those as your inspirations, because like your summary as a human, like in who you are and how you portray yourself, and you're always giving such enlightening messages across your social platforms and even through your music and just your image depiction and everything that it is that you do. It's interesting that you list those inspirations, because it's like a perfect Venn diagram of kind of all those people.
True. Plus more.
Absolutely
Sade,
more.
I have to put Sade there.
My very first concert I ever saw in life.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, and it was a chance encounter. My boy Mike Burley, God bless him, his mom randomly wanted to take us to this concert. And at the time when you're a little kid, like, and you don't know music, you're like, I don't want to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? And all these years later, in hindsight, I'm so immensely grateful for the fact that ended up being the first concert that I ever went to when I was young. And it was at the Standing Theater at Jones Beach Theater on Long Island.
Wow.
And just an amazing experience. And then I remember when she started singing her Smooth Operator record, I was like, oh,
that's
like I know who this is.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know Sade is actually the name of the band.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
And that's just an amazing story, because even though as much as Sade is one of my biggest inspirations, I have not seen her perform ever in life. Yeah, I didn't even know what she looked like for years.
Wow.
Because I discovered Sade through my auntie. Big up Auntie K.
Big up Auntie.
Big up Auntie K. She came down from Washington to come and see me play football, aka soccer. And I was playing in a
For reference, people, for the rest of the episode, football will be soccer, because Chris is a traditionalist. He wants to stick to the status quo, which I respect.
But long and short of it, my Auntie Kay, she introduced me to Sade. We had a drive from New Jersey all the way to Washington, and she kept playing Sade, and I really loved the music. And I was like, Auntie, who you keep playing? And she gave me the album in a physical CD copy.
Wow.
Yeah, and then from there I followed through and just was addicted to her music.
Wow.
Yeah, so big up Auntie Kay. That definitely changed my musical life, and it did a lot for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That peer-to-peer exposure is the essence that's been lost in today's horizon. Because like, remember how much a mixtape used to mean to you when someone would burn you a CD and like it was that 18 songs of the mix and match?
It had a more respect, because you have a CD, you can't scratch the CD.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah, you have to really take care of that. And you know how you keep that, how you store it, it have more replay value. I think accessibility is good, not wrong with streaming and stuff. But I feel like then the space becomes cluttery because any and everyone is just
Yeah.
can just upload a song and
Yeah.
you know, we're not stopping the youths, but
No.
once upon a time, for you youngsters out there, we're not old either. We're fairly young. But music had more cultivation and craftsmanship and dignity and honesty, and it was more like you could be in a different country. You could be in Iran, I could be in Jamaica, and we both could be learning about a place through the music, you know, and how the artist, how pure the artist was. You're learning about a place through a musician singing a song, and as the song age and you age, when you look back, it's like a novel.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
were you born in Jamaica?
yeah, man, born and raised.
Okay, in Spanish Town.
Born and raised in Spanish Town, but
Okay.
I moved to multiple places in Jamaica.
And for reference, where is Spanish Town like in relation to the rest of
The
the
island?
Jamaica? Yeah.
Okay, so Spanish Town is one of the largest parishes.
Okay.
Right, St. Catherine is the parish.
Okay.
Spanish Town would be like the township, the city,
Uh-huh.
so called. It's more so back in the day how it even gotten the name Spanish Town. This is like one of the first places where the Spaniards came from Port Royal and came down. A lot of people, Maroon people, came through Spanish Town. Very rich in culture. Spanish Town would be like on the opposite end to Kingston. Yeah,
Got it.
put it that way. Yeah.
Got it. And then when did you migrate to the States?
When I was 13, turning 14.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
On the cusp of turning 14.
Oh, wow.
So for 13 solid years, I was in Jamaica. I grew up in Spanish Town. Then I moved to Kingston. My mom left me when I was 8 years old. She came to New Jersey, to the United States, to, you know, fend for a better life for my sister and I, Kimberly. And yeah, and I was in Kingston and I moved to Portmore. Then when I moved to Portmore, I then moved to Jersey to, you know, reunite with my mom when I was 14.
Wow. So a very transcendent time for a young man already.
Yeah,
going
man.
through the initial stages of your teenage years, the later stages of what would be puberty and whatnot. So there's already a big emotional weight that you carry during that time of
For sure.
basically figuring your way out in the world. Do you feel like in hindsight, when you look back on that, it had more of an emotional impact on you as a man than you recognized at the time?
1,000%. You know, both. And then we learn in life that, you know, the good and the bad is one in the same. You know, they rely on each other. You know, what makes something truly good is really the fact that it's not bad. It's so good. What makes something bad is the fact that, yo, there is like no goodness in it, but it's one in the same. So those experiences definitely have, you know, there definitely was emotional baggage that was I was able to filter that. I learned life quickly, you know. I grew up pretty tough. I grew up pretty rural. Didn't really have much. Got to saw the world for what it truly is. See how the rich treat the poor. You know, see how the poor treat the rich. You know, and then there in Jamaica, apart from the States, how you have certain things like racism, boom, boom. In Jamaica, it's more classism. You know, so I'm definitely like well-rounded
in that regard.
Yeah.
Got it. And you feel like that's
Pause.
long pause. Do you feel like that's refined your approach in your music for what you want to convey and the message you want to share?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So it's a encapsulation. Your art is an encapsulation of periods of your life.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes.
And that's what you want to do. So what was the moment for you where music started to happen to a point where you were like, okay, like this is actually serious. Like this is something that I know I'm good at. I know, which is subjective to most people, but I can vouch for the fact that you're one of the greatest lyricists I know, one of the most incredibly talented artists I know. Thank you, man.
And big up Small Talk.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. It's an honor to have you here.
Yes, sir.
And you being one of the best artists I know, what was that moment for you that you realized that, bro? Of course. What was the moment that you realized that it settled on you to be like, you know what, I'm actually good at this shit, and like I'm gonna take this serious.
Well,
to push it.
I don't mean to sound like bragging but I kind of always knew. Okay, so when I was exposing my talents and everything from a youngster and stuff, like my peers, older people, whatever, my community is very like unified. You know, you can't go home and not see your friends or people
Familiar
who
faces.
know you just to how everything is designed. Like you have lanes, narrow lanes. This opens up into a broader lane. So even if you wanted to be on the low and just like go home and no one's, no, it's not happening. You know what I mean? So like,
you're not ducking and dodging. No,
you're not ducking and dodging nothing. Same thing when you go outside. The studio the first studio, big up Mr. Wong. You know, this was a very vital time in my life that really made me know was when the person who was running the studio, a big artist, shout out to I Wayne in Jamaica, super phenomenal reggae artist that instilled a consciousness within the island itself, across the world, throughout his music. And I was blessed to grow up in that community called Garvey Mead. You know, this is when I moved to Portmore, right? So when I was in Spanish Town, I didn't really know because of my age. I was young. I was more so writing because I couldn't afford to go to school for one whole year. So I was just home. So I used to write a lot, you know, more so in a poetic form, almost like a novelist. I was like writing a book almost. Some pages would rhyme, some just when I couldn't figure out where I'm going next, the next chapter, as life was consuming me and poverty was consuming me and abuse and hardship and a lot of stuff. So when I get to Portmore, I had a little bit more stability. And during those times in my life, shout out to my dad, you know. It was me and my dad during that time. Those 3 years, you know. And that shaped me. So it was almost I was given a report of those times mixed in with living in Kingston with my aunt. Shout out to my auntie Mitzi. She was like a second mother to me, you know, where she exposed me to the luxuries of life. You know, this is in Beverly Hills, Jamaica, Long Mountain at the top. You look in, the backdrop is the city, the National Stadium. Asafa Powell, who is the first fastest man in the world as a Jamaican. Then came Usain Bolt. He was like our neighbor, you know what I mean?
Damn.
Had a maid. It was just like a... And then from there, I went to Portmore. And then in Portmore, I was able to dial in. And remember, I'm now a young teenager, 12, 13. So Mr. Wong, the studio owner, I know I just went around the world. I saw talk, I'm an artist, right? He opened up the floodgates and he secretly told the engineers, Digo, Eccles, and Doggy, big up yourself. He said, yo, you see this youth? Don't charge him to record.
Wow. He saw the light.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And I Wayne, one of I Wayne biggest hits, it's called The Book of Life. The Book of Life, the Book of Life. Sip the water from the Brook of Life. That instrumental, Cloud9, the producer gave it to me. No one knew. I saved up my lunch money from school. That's what I used to have to do when I had saved up my lunch money. I came again on the Friday to record.
Wow.
I had to make sure I don't have my school uniform on, change my clothes. They'll check me like, yo, you do your homework. Boom, did all of that. Come to the studio. I had a little group. It was not like a gang, but, you know, like we call ourselves No Mercy, no, Everstrap. And then the other... Not gang, but the other group. Crew. That's a more formative word. Crew. The other crew in the community was No Mercy, but we're all, you know, sparring partners lyrically and whatever, you know. Even if we're playing football in the streets, we'd be on different teams, whatever.
Yeah. But it was civil.
It was civil. So I used to save my lunch money for my crew because my crew, they don't really get lunch money. They're more poor than I am. Yeah. And then I would pay for the whole crew to record.
Wow.
And I came one time and Mr. Wong was like, no, Doggy was like, yo, Mr. Wong, tell me you don't have to pay. Wow. He's like, but don't make your friends know in your crew.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Big up.
Yeah, man. And from there, it was like, it was fire. And then I clash militancy from No Mercy crew. This is like really, you know, the core, but this was a defining moment. And I wouldn't say like I beat him. Yeah. Right? But I was getting more praise and more compliments during the whole battle. Obvious. The cipher, But he was the man. Yeah. And he was older than me too. Yeah,
but it's the young gun on the wing coming up.
And the way that made me felt when I went home, bro, like I knew, like,
wow.
Like, yo, I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Look how crazy what small instances compound and make it something greater, bro. True. You know, for you to then ultimately have the conviction and belief that you are meant to do this. Knowing that you had that instinctive feel for
Yes.
it already, but then the confirmation and reflection in a visionary sense, in an audible sense of
Yeah, man.
actually having people endorse that,
True,
and then it
true.
just drives you to want to be greater, you know?
Yeah.
So then the time came for you after that where you're like, okay, this is where I really want to take this serious.
Yeah.
The universe is obviously conspiring to push me along in that
And I
regard.
carried this on even at school.
Uh-huh.
Not to cut you, I would
No.
beat the desk with a number 2 pencil.
Like a drum beat.
Yes, on the thing, and go to battles at school, lunchtime, the whole nine. Yeah, so it was a thing where people knew me as like, yo, an artist,
The music guy.
Yeah, like
yeah.
homies like blacking out on everyone in the class musically. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm clashing like. We call you up here. You guys call it a battle. In Jamaica, we call it a clash. You know, this is when 2 MCs go at it, master ceremony, boop boop, go at each other. Then it's all love after. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, I was really destroying people out there.
So you started.
That's a fact.
So you started freestyling from a young age,
Yeah,
too.
man, young, very young.
Got it. And do you feel like you found the cheat codes for yourself? Because a lot of the beauty of freestyling is most MCs are like 4 or 5 lines ahead while they're delivering the punchline of where they're at now, and they know where they're taking it. They know what the punchline is going to be, how they're going to tee up this one for the line coming down the line, and like they have these little word banks that they pull from. You know what I mean? So do you feel like starting so young is what allowed you to really refine that skill, or is it something that you kind of innately have to
it's
carry?
Both. Both. One complements the other, but one is the beginning without end.
Yeah, it's like
which was
adding
the first
jump
one
shot
you said.
to height. Like
exactly.
you're kind of destined to be a baller.
It's like, you know, you're designed, you're sculpted a certain way. You know what's within you, and you start refining that. But you start from a young age. It's like teaching your son or a nephew, niece, putting them in an instrument, putting them in a music lesson, piano lesson, or gymnasium. Hey, go do gymnastics. And then by the time that child gets to early teen, whatever, and they carry that on, you know, check Pele, check Messi, check Ronaldinho, check
child prodigies that just like developed into
Michael
masters.
Jackson, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's definitely both, a combination of both for sure. And then sticking with it consistently.
Yeah.
Working on your craft, consistently being passionate, consistently finding the energy from within even when you're drained. You know, the discipline, you know, fasting, doing music, you know what I mean? A lot of different elements that helps you to, you know, cultivate and manifest who you truly are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Then not too long after that, you had a band, right? Like you started a band situation.
Oh yeah. I had a band, and this is when I moved to New Jersey.
So not too long after.
Not too long after. Yeah.
And what was the band?
Mine was called Rebel Lions.
Rebel Lions.
Lions. Yes.
Have you heard of the band Revolution?
Yes, I did. Oh yes, when I hear about that band,
Revolution. When I come down,
man. We know Revolution.
They're massive now. They got really popular when I was in high school. So
shout out to my homie Don Carleone too, who is produced a lot of their albums.
Epic.
Steel Pulse and all them joints. Yeah.
They do very well for themselves. They've curated a cult following. They tour a very successful act.
Consistency, man.
And not being afraid of sticking to your sound. They cultivated and curated a very particular approach to their music, and they found an audience for it, and they win. What was the band? What kind of music did you guys make?
So it was a mixture of music. It was kind of more soulful, jazzy, hip hop bass. You know, very melodic, because I was working with instrumentalists who played multiple instruments. So my guy Rick Federick, right? His background was actually like geology. He was a bioengineer. So he worked for the government in New York, and he would go on like different little escapades and different missions like in Africa to figure out, and could tell you like, hey, you can grow X amount of food here. You could build this house here due to this. He can, from solar panel, like, you know, he had that brain. And imagine that brain of a person now playing keys with his eyes closed. So that same feeling and that same depth of feel of searching and finding and knowing balance in the music just created a widespread. And then I had my drummer, Gregory Morgan. Shout out to Greg. And all these people, man, is a big representation of passion, independent creatives who were, you know, Greg was older than me. Rick was older than me. It's like we're all giving each other life. So as much as I'm looking forward to coming to jamming out with these guys, we're creating from scratch, scratching our lint in the pocket, trying to figure out the rent and you know what I mean, subletting someone in this room so we could keep the lights on to keep jamming, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So the creativity was limitless. It was from reggae swings to straight jazz hip hop moments to...
That's dope. Did you guys ever release any music or?
Never released any, man, because of Greg, man. I love you, Greg, but damn, Brody. Like, Greg just wanted to keep jamming. I'll tell you this too, man. You see with a band, nothing was released because, all right, when you're working with true musicians, like instrumentalists,
when is it done?
It's like never over, and the jam keeps jamming. It keeps going. So it's like, but everything is a time and place. What I did do was a lot of early performances. Like we had residency at Delancey in downtown Brooklyn. We had the Gray Lady, also downtown Brooklyn. We would go busking. So I was fearlessly and fiercely attacking my passion and physically promoting myself. Like we would set up in the subways in New York and Manhattan, pop up 14th Street, Union Square, bust there, make $800 in a day. Alhamdulillah, jump out of there, go down Classen, right there, go to Prospect Park, up there, Soho, like,
wow.
And it's a live show, bro. Anywhere we pull up, because bro also has an engineer background through his dad, so he plays guitar and plays a drum at the same time. Got it. And he has a bass line in his guitar. Like, wow. He modified his drum and his guitar. Wow. So as he's playing with the foot, it's like also hitting a snare. Like, got it. Different. Yeah. Big up Gregory Morgan, wherever you're at in the world, my brother. I love you. Wow. And Rick, I know you're somewhere with the hottie, bro. Because that's Rick's style. That's great. Yeah, man. Good times. Good times.
Epic. So that's why you had so much like stage experience and prominence, because I've seen you perform before and you command a stage incredibly well. Blessings, my brother. So like that doesn't just come from grabbing a mic for the first time. No, definitely
experience, man. And it's always a... it's a weird form of anxiety that comes over you when you're about to perform.
Of course.
Because you love it so much too. Yeah. And then when the moment is in line, when you're about to perform and match that passion and match that excitement, it's a very like tricky space. But as soon as you do it a couple times, whatever, man, you just start loving it. But you always get that little feeling in your stomach, like, man, damn, low-key, I need to use a bathroom, or like, I gotta go pee, but I don't need to pee. You know what I mean? I
had the blessing of spending a lot of time with Lionel Richie when I was working on a project with his son. Shout out Miles, incredibly talented kid. Wanted to do like a dance project that we were putting together, and I had a lot of time to have a lot of valuable conversations with Lionel Richie. And ironically, across all the blessings and
talking about this, that's not legendary.
No, absolutely legendary. And the irony of that situation is that across all the different blessing points of my career that I've had to like meet some of my idols, work with some of my idols, work with some incredible people, I don't think my parents have ever been more excited about anything than when I told them that I got to meet Lionel Richie. Of course. And spend like extended time with him. They were freaking out about the situation. And one thing that he told me was that feeling never goes away. No. The feeling of nervousness, of excitement, it never goes away. Human nature. Another one of my mentors, shout out Brian Way, who taught me a lot of what I know, became like the king of television scores over his career. He's one of those guys that spent 30, 40 years like relentlessly grinding through the industry. And like he had done and produced records for Milli Vanilli, and then like Milli Vanilli had their fallout and scandal. So he always tells me this funny ass joke where he's like, my girl at the time called me and was like, your song is on the radio. And he was like, what song? And she's like, the song that you produced for Milli Vanilli. And he's like, what? Like we never even closed up like the agreements. Like he's like, it was breaking news to me, he's like, and when I got to come around to trying to like, file lawsuit or this and that, my attorney was like, look, like I talked to the label's attorney, you can sue if you want, but I'm just letting you know that like you're producer number 67. like basically in line of lawsuits. And like by the time things settle and get around, you're probably going to spend more money on this case fighting it than what you're ever going to make from it, you know? But Brian had the blessing. He's an incredible keyboardist, like an incredible keys player. Absolutely incredible. He's done a whole slew of like universal music, like from Middle Eastern music to American music, and the likes of like Paula Abdul, Milli Vanilli, as I mentioned, all these people. And he had the blessing of touring with Danny Elfman, who is an absolute legend, right? Especially in the composition composing world of side of things. And he said, whether it was 100 people that he performed in front of, whether it was tens of thousands of people that he performed in front of, he said every single time before he went on stage, he felt like he was going to throw up, and actually threw up a few times. You know what I mean? And he's not even the one singing. He's the guy playing keys, you know? And he always told me that the key to that unlocking that superpower is to harness that rush of emotion and trust your preparation. Because a lot of it is going to fade in the moment when you're trying to convey that back to the world and the audience and make sure that you captivate them, because it comes from a place of passion of wanting to deliver a good performance, you know? Correct. And so cultivating that, right, and harnessing that energy into a superpower to make sure that it doesn't become a detriment to you. In the sense of, he said, I've seen the most talented individuals in the world depend on something else to take that feeling away instead of harnessing it for themselves. So whether it was drinking or doing anything recreationally before they perform and whatnot. And he said that's the key for young artists to understand, is you need to embrace that moment. You need to embrace that feeling and learn to harness that as a superpower for yourself. And be transparent on the stage.
You can physically... You know, you can be vulnerable on the stage.
Of course. Like Lionel used to say the funniest thing, though. I just had to say, he used to say that there used to be a brown note that they would play on stage because his bass player used to stand in front of the speaker and that they would hit this deep bass note, you know, that would like send massive vibrations on low tone frequencies. And he always used to say, like, yo, you better not shit your pants when we play this, because he said it's happened before. Like he literally had bass players who would be playing a specific note and like it would hit the stomach
nerves.
On stage.
Wow.
Like
that's nuts.
They would have to keep playing through it, you know? And he's like, oh, I guess he hit the brown note. You know what I mean? So it's like a little TMI, but an interesting little tidbit.
But it's real. You know? It's real like that.
Yeah. It's all about preparation and harnessing that superpower.
Of course, man. You know? And embracing it, you know, and embracing the moment with gratitude. And you find, as you said, it fades away pretty quickly, like as you're getting into your set. Because it's like, you know, you're facing a crowd of people who you've never seen before, some who you may have seen you before, who you don't know at all. It seems as if complete strangers, but there's a bond. And once you're able to afford yourself a little patience to experience that chemistry that's right there, because these people are here to see you, you know, it pretty much fades away rather quickly, and then it becomes a beautiful like party almost. Like it becomes a show. But that moment before you brace this stage is always like, no matter how big the stardom is, I've heard it too, even sports players, like
for sure,
anything that requires higher level of performance, you know, man. Publicly.
I always think about that with athletes. Like athletes, listen, musicians are there to like show you a good time, and they play their music, songs that they've gone to practice thousands and thousands of times over. Like there's so many variables and things that could go astray in the middle of like a professional sports match, that you really, like the World Cup. Like they know that billions of people with a B are tuned in through television, media, radio, etc. Right? And like, bro, you miss an assignment for half a second and dude runs by you and goes and scores a goal, and your whole country wants to fucking...
Some of the greatest players crumble during the World Cup.
Yeah, of course, because it's just such an overwhelming amount of pressure. And then like people always wonder why these dudes are compensated in the manner that they are. One, obviously not going into that rabbit hole of how much they generate for this sport, right? But it's because they're worthy of it. Like, can you stand, even let's go to an NBA arena, can you stand in front of 20,000 people and hit 15 shots with a 260-pound, 7-foot dude in front of you who's like sole focus and goal is to shut you down. Like it takes a different level of prowess and like mental fortitude, you know?
I agree.
Is there a particular performance that you have? Because I know you did the which everybody should check out. We'll link your socials in the description. Everybody should check out your freestyles on the radio that you had, which were absolutely amazing.
Thank you, my brother.
Including those and including live performances. Is there a particular one that's your favorite?
My favorite? Yeah, I think one of my favorite moments. Oh, man, that's a tough one.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. Gauging it in what way?
Whatever way it defines to
Whatever way?
Yeah. It could be a moment that like you felt like you arrived.
I think
it could have been an idol.
I think this could be a moment. My very first radio freestyle ever. My very first live radio interview.
Which was with
DJ Enough at Shade 45 Sirius XM. In New York. That was one of my favorite moments because it was raw. It was not planned. We went up there to do an interview. Shout out to Enough. Shout out to D-Rock.
Yeah, legend,
you know, and who, you know, gracefully brought me up there and, you know, with nothing in return, all love. You know, shout out to Invisible Bully too. And that was one of my favorite moments because it was live on radio and people were calling in and it was going crazy and it went low-key viral. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That was a legendary moment.
That really opened a lot of floodgates for me.
Yeah, for sure.
A freestyle, you know. Don't underestimate the power of simplicity.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the $3 trillion company that we have in front of us and Apple, right? Like, that's the company that mastered it the greatest. Like, just deliver the message. Like, here it is again, but better, or whatever the hell it is that their slogans are. Like, they keep it so simple and so clean and so effective, you know? That freestyle was during the era that you were recording your projects in my studio, which is Ohm House. And that's what connected us and brought us very close because I knew from the beginning that you were just such an extremely talented individual. And then the people aspect side of it, like your personal aspect side of it, just made it that much sweeter because you were very enlightened from when I knew you as being a much younger man than you even are now, right? But I knew you from a younger age and watched that ascension happen. And it's always been such a joy, man. It's been such a pleasure to see you come along in that light. And I'm a big fan of your music first and foremost.
Thank you,
and a bigger fan of who you are behind the microphone.
Thank
you
you so much, my brother. Likewise.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. You're my brother. Yes, where do you see yourself in the near future? Like, what are your plans for your comeback? Because I know you have a lot of people who are very eager and up your ass pause. For a release of music.
Why?
You know?
You being one of my main core, true, pure soul of, I wouldn't even just say a supporter, just delivering the truth,
my brother,
in time, not on time, in the right moment. I think the time is now. You know, the time is right now. Realistically, can I consistently release music right now at this moment? I can't, because I've been shaping certain things in my life to the top of next year, man. 2025, the entire year.
You're coming.
Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah. I'm gonna say pause on the coming too, but I'm releasing some dope music.
It's just a full pause episode.
That's for Jamaicans. That's for Jamaicans. For all my Jamaican and Caribbean people that is watching this right now, y'all understand why I had to say that. Yeah.
I get it. That's epic, man.
Yeah,
that's
man.
epic. So have you spent the last couple of years kind of cultivating or curating a new sound, or are you coming with what people are going to be familiar?
I constantly work, man. I silently work. I've been, you know, writing for a lot of people who you know, a lot of industry people, a lot of, you know, well-known artists and stuff like that I keep pretty confidential due to the terms. And in between time of doing that, you know, I've constantly worked on my craft. Even when I'm just driving my car, I could be running 3 miles in the morning. Like, you know, I find that time, and that time finds defines me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if the longer I go without releasing, I have to be creating. You know, to stay in shape.
Yeah.
You know, stay
Mentally.
lyrically fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, great analogy.
Yes, my brother.
That's epic. So top of the year, we should expect new music.
Yes, sir.
That's beautiful to hear. And knowing the grind that this industry is, right? Like knowing the ups and downs and trials and things that you've had to experience, both good and bad, right?
One in the same.
One and the same. How have you kept your sanity through this whole thing? And
God.
Epic answer. Epic answer. So,
The Most High Jah.
and I assume that's your answer to how you continue to keep yourself grounded.
Rastafari.
Got it. So what are some physical actions or hobbies or anything that you include in your schedule or ritualistic approach that allows you to stay grounded outside of the belief?
Man, I love this guy. This is behind the mic. This person right here, Seeno.
Thank you, man.
Real. You're my real brother. Lion
Thank
for
you,
my
man.
brother. You're my real
Thank you,
brother.
man.
Yeah, man. I had to say that.
I love you, brother.
Love you too, my brother. And you know, the discipline of staying mentally uplifted, right? Emerging out the darkness from the wells and depths of semi-depression, loneliness as you focus on self. The things that I had to do to emerge from those emotions and to overcome, you know, the vibration and the fluctuation of frequency within self. This is nothing else with life, just even within self, of how the mind works and how you can one morning wake up and you feel amazing and you're ready, and then the next day by sunset that energy is gone. So how to harness it was consistency. And to be honest with you, I took 2 years to 3 years, you know, in a off music, and I wasn't feeling my best of self. My spirit was low. I wasn't praying as much, and in the second year to complete those 3 years, I turned my life fully over to Jah, to the Almighty. You know, it started through prayer and meditation to cleanse myself spiritually, cleanse my mind from all materialistic aspects of life, from money, from neediness, from lustful desires, lustful pleasures, unwanted fake welcomings, synthetic friendships, you know, things that you think once fulfilled you, emptying that, draining that basket in yourself, pouring out that glass, filling it back, refilling with something else. And now I came to a point where in the third year completion, I reconciled a relationship with my dad. This is all the build up before just answering that, because if those things weren't in order, what I'm going to say now wouldn't exist, you know? So, and it's also for the youth to know, and for artists to know, and anyone who's passionate about athlete, anything, is we're all human, and we all go through real things within. We may not show it because you may be I know you are, like myself, that person in your family, in your network of friends, in your companionship, in marriage and everything. You're the source of strength, and there is a dependency on you in a certain type of way where you don't get to attack how you feel at times. And what you're going through is really on the back burner, and then it catches up to you years later, and you're having dull moments like, man, what's happening right now? Like, why do I feel this way? You know, like, what's going on? And through prayer, you find back self, and you put yourself on a scale. After putting myself on the scale, I reconciled a relationship with my dad after he and I not speaking for 15 years. That brought glory onto my life. In that very same moment, I shared that moment on my social media on Instagram, right? Chris Matic music, plugging myself, right?
Oh, yeah.
I shared that moment on Instagram, and then Rohan Marley reached out to me. Shout out to Rohan Marley. For everyone who don't know who Rohan Marley is, this is Bob Marley's son. Really amazing person. He just reached out to me and expressed that, hey, you know, what you shared really means a lot to me. And he shared moments of his life not having a fleshly father and other intimate conversation that I wouldn't share. And the blessings from the Most High was raining on me because I was doing the right thing. Wow. When I was doing the right thing, it's like just send back the blessing and the gift to me now.
Wow.
So the gift of creation, my purpose. And as I started digging back into that, just like, yo, everything's good. I woke up like a hummingbird, like a Dr. Bird, just making music. I'll be on the toilet making a song.
Wow.
I call it the throne. I sit on the throne in the morning and I'm beating out music just coming to me. I'm grabbing the phone, recording it. I'm watering my plants, doing this, whatever. And then I started I didn't really have necessarily a routine, to be honest with you, because I'm really that creative to where if I put it in a routine measure, it doesn't work. You know, sometimes I'll be in the car. This was the most routine thing I did early in the morning. Everything that comes to me, I'd go in the car and skim through production of producers that just send me crazy production. And because I wasn't in the heights of my creativity, I didn't get the opportunity to really complement that beautiful rhythm that was sent to me and really dive into my skills. So I'd go into the car in my garage, because I live in a high rise, right? I'd go into the garage, turn on the beats early in the morning. I'm telling you, like 6 in the morning, you know what I'm saying? And I'm cooking. That was something I did the most routinely. And then I go by the water and I listen to what I cooked after running. You get me? And that would just be a kind of day-to-day. I'm driving.
A disciplined approach. You know? And I fasted on my music, just getting it in. And now I'm back in the groove. And also recognizing the seasons. You know, in life, everything come in due season. Every fruit bear in due season. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You have a stage of planting. You have a stage of watering. You have a stage of things mustarding. You have a stage of flowering.
Slow season is seeding season.
Yeah, man.
Baby.
So even now in this time, I'm not the most creative within the season. And I've started to understand the seasons within life. And we're all here on one planet Earth, and you're not bigger than the sun or the ants. Yeah, because when you're reduced to the soil, the ants become and the worms become the emperor of diet. That's Shakespeare for you motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
It's a bar.
Yeah, man. And a lot of reading. Started cooking my meals again. Started playing back some football again, which
got back to getting close to the source.
Yeah, grounding, man. Went back to the homeland. Went back to Jamaica. Said like 1,000 prayers by the rivers. Tapped in with my old friends. You know, God bless the dead. Some of them who aren't here anymore. Went back to the hood where I'm from. Blessed my community. Started a non-profit.
Which I was gonna.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Chance Foundation, every kid deserves a chance, right? And every troubled child deserves a second chance. And we're not giving out checks, we're calling them chances. You know what I'm saying? Grants and the whole nine, rebuilding football fields back home, building up computer centers. Did my first treat last year, back to school, did it again this year. Come Christmas, we're doing another big treat. And this is in some of the most rural, vicious places like Tivoli Garden, all over downtown Jamaica, you know. And I also got 137 underprivileged kids of, you know, African ethnicity and also Spanish kids, underprivileged Spanish kids, right there in Davie, Florida, at the high school McCarthy High School. I got them enrolled in a summer program, then got them grants to actually fully go to that charter school through me and my partner, Steve Anderson. And I did that silently. I didn't post that on social media, nothing like that. My own bread, the whole nine, you know, thousands of dollars worth of book bags, pencils. Didn't post anything, but the community knows.
They're just doing God's work.
Yeah, God work. God work, bro.
So you felt like the more that you found spiritual balance and purity, the more that you saw that parallel and reflection to your professional and personal life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very powerful words and insights, man.
Yes, my
bro. A lot of youth that are listening to that, they get lost in their ways. I mean, we remember how it was, man. You're looking for so much conviction, and like you want so much certification when you're coming up.
Validation.
You know? Validation. That's all we fiend for when you're younger, because ultimately it's our instinct to want to connect. We're social-based creatures. Of course. You know? Put a man or a woman in solitary confinement for a couple months and watch what happens to them. They absolutely lose their mind.
Exactly.
Because we're meant to have that
5 months. breakdown.
And we're meant to have that peer-to-peer connection. So ultimately, that's all we seek when we're young, you know?
True.
So you coming in with all this experience with something like the Chance Foundation and all this perspective and giving these kids the opportunity to see that for themselves, because a lot of the times it's another one of those subjects that's people like to tiptoe around, but classism, as you were saying, like the poor kid feels less than valuable. You know what I mean? And it's one of those situations where that's never the truth, you know? It's just a matter of allowing people to have equal grounding and equal opportunities to be able to pursue their dreams or what their talents may be, because you can't teach a fish to climb a tree, as they say, right? And it's one of those things where it can either become your excuse or it becomes your story, ultimately.
True.
And you allowing these kids to have the opportunity to pursue that in the highest light is an absolute blessing and wholeheartedly God's work, man.
Yeah,
So
man,
I truly commend you and salute you for that.
Respect, my brother.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yes, sir.
It's a divine deed. And, you know, as a human being and as a person who is truly from, you know, that form of poverty, and, you know, my father not having enough money to even send me to school for me to be educated. And that's nothing, because I have kids who just never went to school at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No schooling.
Raised by the
at
streets.
all. Yeah, raised in the streets, die in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that's like a bigger than any Grammy, any award. Because man can award you, but the Most High rewards you.
Ooh.
So we're into life for the reward, not the award. The award is just whatever I subject to give you. Is a measurement of value, what I think.
Wow.
You know, it means nothing. It's just my thought on you. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But there's a higher power, whatever, you know, others believe in, whatever the case is, you know. I do believe in the Most High. I believe in the King of Kings, the Lord, the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, Holy Emmanuel, King Selassie the first, you know, the second coming of Christ himself. You know, look to the east for the fourth coming of a king. He'll be crowned in a new name, and this name is highly Selassie, crown it Empress Menenai. From Ethiopia, this is Ababa, the city of Hayar. So that's my indoctrination and belief spiritually that then yields these deeds and these seeds that are planted in the fountain of youth, which then continuously flow. And we go to the river, we have to also bring something to the river of the youth, the fountain of youth. So this is something that is necessary. Even if I wasn't doing music, period, no matter what I'm doing in my life, I see it as my due diligence, my duty. You know, coming from that is, can't forget that.
Wow.
So even I could be in the highest of time. Sometimes I'm at the highest top of the mountain, I'm thinking about the lowest points of my life.
Wow.
The irony. You know what I mean? So yeah, then you have to get back there to help.
Wow.
Because it's lonely at the top.
Yes, it is, man.
You know?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your beliefs, do you believe there's a time before and after death?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Man, let me tell you, small talk sucks. This can't just be life. Yeah, man, life is greater than this. This is the flesh, this going to decay, this might wrinkle, it may not.
Yeah.
You know, your ears may get bigger, your nose may get bigger, whatever.
Yeah. Which I just found out, by the way.
Yeah.
Fucking pissed me off.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I do believe, I believe in life after death. I believe the death is the physical decay of the body, and the spirit lives forever.
Absolutely.
We have loved ones that we can feel the energy to this as if they never died.
Yeah.
Our only memories because we physically saw them perish.
Yeah.
But what is the explanation of the energy and the spirit that lives on, that you're thinking about them so closely as if they're alive?
Yeah.
Because they are.
Yeah, absolutely
The
they
spirit,
are. And you feel it more than ever.
Yeah, man.
I love you, Grandma.
Of course.
100%.
Of course.
Have you ever done any psychedelics?
Yeah.
Like mushrooms and whatnot?
I did shrooms.
Is it off topic, or are you open to talk about it?
No, I'm open to talk about it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was that experience like
Kids
for you?
don't do shrooms.
Definitely don't.
You know, my first time doing shrooms, to be honest with you, was with...
You like you say it to me. You're like, it was with you. Nah.
Was it? No. You're my first shroom person. The first time doing shrooms was with a great friend of mine.
Got it.
You know?
And was it a transcendent experience? Did you have a bad trip, or was it like enlightening?
No, I had an amazing trip, but I didn't do too much shrooms because I had 2 bad trips that were really bad.
Off mushrooms?
Off mushrooms.
Was it your setting or your environment?
It was where I was at in my life, and I think I was using the shroom like you would say if other people use certain type of things. I was a victim of trying to do that, and God just redirected me because now
it never works that way.
I've done a shroom like not recent, but a couple months ago where it wasn't no bad trip or whatever, and I understand how to microdose, I understand how this thing works. Yeah, man, but I had 2 bad trips where they're bad, you know? I was scared of doing shrooms, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, damn, the first one was fire, you know, but the energy of who I was doing it with, the second 2 times I was by myself.
Oh, shit, that's ballsy.
Bro, and they say never look in the mirror. I didn't know that. I looked in the mirror, man. That thing's real. If you're doing shrooms,
don't ever look in the mirror.
All adults, if you're doing shrooms, don't look in the mirror.
No, it's such a bug out.
You know, bro, I saw myself as an older man.
Do you know how many people have told me that? That's so fucking weird you just said that, bro.
Yeah? All right, so before you tell me, I'm going to show you and tell me if everything connects, right?
Okay.
So I saw myself as an older person.
Okay.
Like my physical side. I saw what I look like older.
Yes.
I'm looking in the mirror. I'm seeing gray beard. Nice gray beard. Full. Like Noah in the Ark or some shit. Hair of wool. Some of my locks are like raggedy. Some are like gone. You know what I'm saying? But I'm holding on to that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, bro, I see myself alone and sad. Like, I see the sadness in my eyes.
Wow.
And I started crying.
Wow.
Like, I'm crying as an older person, but obviously I'm still me. But I cannot not look in the mirror. I'm trying my hardest to, like, not look in the mirror. And it's just gravitationally pulling me in.
Wow.
Yeah, man. And as soon as I get out the mirror, heart racing, all of that, I'm like, yo, what I saw was scary. Wow. And then I eased off of the shroom. I had to ease off the shroom, man. And I took it another time. That was the 3rd bad trip. The 2nd bad trip.
Damn.
I was at my house, bro. I just moved into my apartment, in my crib, everything. It's very open because it's like a wraparound glass vibe. No furniture, nothing. I had a blow-up bed, the Roomba joint that cleans the floor.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I bought a blender. That's it. You know, obviously the joint came with a fridge, stove, whatever.
Yeah.
Boom. Blow-up bed, whatever. Decided to, you know,
is that why you're such like a prominent advocate for juicing and shit? Was it that blender?
Oh, no. I always love fresh juices.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Always, yeah. Between my parents were, my mom's like super, you know, health oriented base, and like same thing with my dad, very health conscious, very eating
so
clean.
They passed that down to you.
Yeah, definitely. And that comes from my grandparents. My grandpa used to make, God bless Papa Ernest, my grandfather used to make his own ice cream. Everything was from the land, you know, where they live with my grandma. My grandparents, they had 12 children together, right? My grandpa just had 1 son before meeting my grandma. And everything came from the yard, from the chicken to the goat to the cow.
Also just super health conscious.
Yeah, super health conscious, man. Yeah.
So going back to what you were saying with the bed, you had the blow up bed. You had the blender. I had
the blow up bed and everything, and I decided to take a shroom that evening, you know, like around coming down in late afternoon, cruise into the evening. And man, I lost it again. I didn't look in the mirror, but I was just sad. You know, I was taking it in times to escape certain things, like the humbleness in me on a blow-up bed for 7 months, rebuilding my life, getting my bread back up together, getting my head on the swivel. You know, I was out of touch with my family in a way. I was more aloof and more in a dark place in my life. You know, with all the light around me in a wraparound glass high-rise building, shit didn't mean shit to me, because there are certain components to my life that wasn't in function, you know, its form wasn't following function because I wasn't functioning correctly. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, everything was kind of falling apart as it was coming together in the physical, but spiritually and within myself, I wasn't A1. I wasn't the best version of self.
Yeah, well, you have to self-destruct before you self-discover.
Exactly. I was self-destructing, and the shroom expedited that.
That's what it
travel,
does.
and then I regained, and I was like, all right, no shrooms. I'm easy off the bud.
Yeah.
I'm easy off these things.
Yeah.
And bop, here I am, man.
Wow.
Years
man.
later.
What a ringing endorsement for mushrooms, huh?
Right, cut the check.
Nah, it works differently for people in different ways, you know?
For sure.
Psychedelics
But
are meant to do that.
I could do a shroom now, even with you right now. We could go on a hike. You know what I'm saying? For real. Like,
I'm teasing.
I'm in way better shape.
Yeah, but I really do have some. But all jokes aside, if you had to reflect back with the most important message in life ever, like when you were talking about having the blessing and the opportunity to reconcile with your father, right? That's ultimately you protecting the little boy inside of you, you know? Like it's healing that little child inside of you and why you feel so much prosperity and joy and why so much glory arrives, because it's the close of a karmic circle. You know what I mean? And you're completing what could be an ancestral thing, whatever it is that people might believe. But there's some energy that transpires in the healing and settling of another part of the equation, right? And like that's what allows you to really blossom. Like you replenish and repair the soil, and it's what allows the seed to actually grow, right? Which is ultimately what, when you share that story, that's what I hear and interpret from it, right?
Yeah.
The most important message and question I always ask to people who I just love to get this perspective from, because I honor what you say, right? Is if you could look at your younger self and offer words of wisdom, words of love, encouragement, whatever it is that you would want to say to younger Chris Matic, right? Like the young 9 or 10-year-old version of yourself, or that moment of turbulence, the moment in which you encountered the turbulence of your life, or whatever it may be. What's the message that you would deliver to your younger self?
Better days are coming. Mainly that, because better days are coming. Never give up on yourself. Stay focused. Stay grounded in who you truly are. And never look down on yourself. Look up to yourself. Look up to life. Look up to God. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Be determined. Be intentional. Be pure. Stay pure. Keep your heart clean. You know, no matter what bullshit you go through in your life, no matter what trials, tribulations, struggles, overcome that by staying pure. You know, stay. Don't make the sinfulness and the impoverished communities, the violence, the war, the crime, the attitude of others, the ill treatment of loved ones who you've loved, the exposure to hatred from just being around the wrong groups of people. Fast from those things. Learn to fast and learn that to stay pure throughout it all. Don't become the things that you endured and experienced. Overcome them. Overcome them.
Wow, mighty words.
Yeah, because those things set up roadblocks and hurdles in your life that they're mental blocks. Because it's stuff that it's a visor on you. Don't get to see it until you peel that off. And it's unnecessary to go through to beat yourself up. It's unnecessary. It was unnecessary for my dad and I not to speak for so long, over 10 years, 15 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of literally not communicating.
Yeah.
And then forgiveness is key. Yeah. Forgiveness is key.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a superpower, because it's not even for them, it's for you.
Absolutely. Clean out your side of the street, as they
man.
say.
Me and my dad reconnecting is like, you don't even know, bro. You know, because we talk offline, but that's, you know what I mean? For every kid, like the reason why even Ro connected with me and other people who I'm not going to go down and name a list of people, because that's not how I get down. I list Ro because I never knew him. I never met him. He just... that energy brought him to DMing me, you know what I'm saying? And
Bob Marley's kid.
Yeah, Bob Marley kid, invited me to his home off just the realness, you feel me? And it's a message I want to send to kids too, you know, in the same form, one in the same with what you're saying, like what would I say to my younger self? For all kids who grew up without their dad being there in their life, forgive your dad, man. You know, until you become a dad really and truly, or even after becoming a dad, forgive your dad, forgive your mother, you know, because people are who they are. You can't judge anyone.
Yeah, and it was their first time too.
Yeah, you know, and in that forgiveness, you have to also remember that people change and people grow, and people will suffer in regret, in pride and doubt will shatter someone so badly more than you know, to where they physically can't even speak about it. You know, and if you have the strength within yourself to reconnect and reconcile, do that.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Do that. It's a blessing, man.
So powerful. And the parallel that I see in that is with my wife's personal experience. You know, she had a fallout with her mother when she was younger, that one day she'll share that insight herself on the pod. And she didn't speak to her mother as well for almost 20 years, you know?
Wow.
And knowing my wife, I mean, you're well aware if she's your sister, you know,
amazing
aware of who that is to
woman.
you. You know, I don't mean literal sister, but spiritual sister, family, you know, but people might get confused.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, it's one of those things where knowing who she is, right? The most innocent, pure, tender, loving human being that exists. To watch how she grew up and what she became, the purest person in every sense of the word, with those trials, right? So much work on herself, so much conviction and thought, so much healing that needed to occur. What I watched transpire and seed and blossom in her after they reconciled and she healed that relationship with her mother was probably one of the greatest blessings of my life as her husband.
Wow.
You know? And watching her heal that little girl inside of her, right? And watching that lead to the acknowledgement that she was ready to be a mother herself, you know, was one of the most like magical things that I got to experience, because I encouraged her along the way and I never wanted to push it. I never wanted to push it and make it something that was uncomfortable. You know,
spiritually is something that must be done.
Of course. Yeah. And it's one of those things that I just wanted her to understand that through the support and acknowledgement that I'm here for you. And this is just my opinion of what I think is good for you and what would be beneficial. You do with it as you please. I'm not going to force you to pick up the phone and do anything and do any of whatever it is that you don't want to do. But watching that progress and watching those walls break down and watching how things progressed in the sense of, you know, her going from just calling her by first name, then to calling her my mother, and watching these little things happen, and then watching the tide of the conversation change in regards to, I do want to have kids. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. It's what I say in regards to when you find that spiritual balance,
fulfillment,
you see the parallel that happens in a personal and like reality sense of reflection.
And how the world, how the universe conspires with that. It's all in sync. How certain blessings come to your doorstep. Because, you know, these things is, be honest, you know, it's written. You know, it's honor thy mother and thy father so thy days can belong upon the land. Lo and behold, thy parents will and may forsake thee, the child. But honor and forgive them, for upon a child shall lead the way. And that's why it goes, Jah bless the child that can hold his own. That's the forsaken child, like Joseph in the Bible, like Daniel, or who would that be in the Quran?
I'm not 100%.
Not 100%, but whoever that is, a child out there in the garrison, in the ghetto, in the projects. You know, a kid who you think, you know, is up in life and everything is really down in that part of his life, because that's just not there. When I talk to my homie, you know, I won't drop his name so he can stay anonymous. He'll hear it and he'll respect that too. You know, he used to serve his dad crack. You get what I'm saying? And his dad just totally, like, he said he used to serve his dad crack in order to bond with him, because his dad was a fiend. Bro. You get what I'm saying? And this is during,
so it's just a longing
that
for love.
Whole crack epidemic. From that time, 70s, 80s. You get what I'm saying? So he was telling me that. I was like, yo, it's crazy, because we're talking as men now. I'm like telling him my thing, and boom. And I was like, yo, what, you know, I was happy to hear, like, so what's the relationship with your dad? You know what I'm saying? Because he's older than me. He's 48 years old. He goes into it and he tells me, and I was like, damn. So like, he's like, yeah, man, I try to reach out to him now as a man or whatever, man. But it's like, you know, he's so like hurt by who he was. his dad has never gotten the opportunity to really be a dad.
Wow.
You see, now I give my dad an opportunity to be a father in my life. Not in the aspect of like, I need my dad to take care of me. I don't need money from my dad. I don't need anything from it. But even just good conversation, even a check-in. Like if I'm not feeling well, son, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I receive a reward. I'm rewarded in some format or whatever. I have something to share. Yo, dad, you know what? I just do a song with this person, or those simple little things. Or, you know, it started with me reaching out to my dad after praying 5 a.m. You know, I reached out to him like 5:30 in the morning, boop, bop, sun about to rise up.
Wow.
God told me to call him, you know, and I listened to God and I said, all right, hello, boop, hit my dad. Yo, he didn't even know what number it was. Hello? I'm like, hey, dad. Like, wait, who this? Christopher?
Wow.
I was like, yeah, that is me. He's like, boom, and then I lashed out. I got everything out. I was like, yo, like, bop, bop, bop. You know, I don't want to talk about negative things.
And their response, more often than not, is always more gracious and accepting that you would think. Yeah, man.
And for the first time in my life, you know, my dad, I witnessed or heard my dad crying. My dad broke down on the phone, you know, and he was like very happy that, you know, and it was so funny because he never fully opened up until I consistently made the effort to physically go pick him up, link him, invite him to my crib for Sunday dinner, take him to a football game, buy him football cleats, go to his crib, see little things I could get for him and just see what's going on in his life. Bless his crib with something for him to really recognize that, oh, Christopher, actually forgive me, and like, Chris don't hate me. Cause I never hated my dad.
Yeah.
I don't have hate in me, you know.
You just wanted love.
Yeah,
man.
love and hate can never be friends.
No.
You know, I don't have no hate in me. I can dislike someone's actions. I easily will forgive you, but I'm very good at keeping space and distance from things that can cause, you know, problems and repeated, you know, series of events that we already know where things can lead to. You know, so I'm good at taking myself away from those things. But there's something about the absence going through life without having my dad around where it always dawned on me just as a man. You know, like, it's weird. And my sister never, you know... Kimberly Wallace, you know, my sister never met her dad until she met her dad twice in her life when she got older, and you know, blaze her dad, judgment on her dad. 'Cause I don't judge, but judgment on the wicked and more life to the righteous. And her dad did something to her that I won't talk about. That, you know what I'm saying? Where some of those relationships never get to to prosper or to flourish at all. Wow. And there's a emptiness that lingers in humans and in people. It redirects their life. Yeah. It's so like important because it's not like your parent has died. They're alive, but they're just missing.
And the impact that has on people is just profound.
Makes my sister way more she internalizes everything, and this is before,
because she's had to.
It was before me growing.
It's a survival mechanism
to learn and to know. So I used to judge my sister when I was younger, like, yo, my sister mean, she's selfish, she's not like a big sister, whatever. But she was always hiding and always suppressing, and that's why she's like that. Yeah. And once I put that together, bro, I love my sister to
more than anything.
Death. Yeah. Motherfucker, fuck with my sisters up.
Try me.
Yeah. Don't try me, bro. I'll tell you that. Don't try me. Yeah. I'm not something to try. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Bro. So like, you know, and I'm sorry that she couldn't have that fulfillment. And my mom, you know, a woman's scorn is powerful. You know, if I'm talking about my dad so much, my mom's going to be watching this. You know what I'm saying? Mom, watch everything you're doing. You know, love you, mama. You know what I mean?
Love you, mama.
But my mom was confused by my action to reconcile with my dad, you know, which was a part of trying to forsake me, and I forcefully disallowed her to. I tackled every argument. I made her very uncomfortable. I told her the truth. I say, hey, I understand how you feel, but this is my truth. This is my release. But my mom was abused by my dad. My mom has that scorn towards my dad for his absence and how she was treated as a woman. And my mom's an amazing woman. You know, my mom wouldn't even want me to say this, but it's like Eminem closet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Your life is your art form.
Yeah, this is my life.
And
this
you
is the
sharing
truth.
you sharing this and being vulnerable enough to share this inspires whoever's listening to do the same. You understand?
Trust me, man.
Which is empowering.
Yeah, man. It's a topic in its own, but it's an inspiration, and we're saying this for every child and every kid, every grown up, not just a kid, man.
No.
But once a man, twice a child, like Bob Marley said. So like, it's more so in the vein and the spirit of growth, and being the best version of yourself, and also it aligns itself with the oneness of being pure, because this can corrupt you.
Yeah, absolutely.
This can affect how you treat your child
absolutely
to come, or your current child that you have.
Yeah.
So it's important to.
And you have to heal that.
Yeah, man. That's love.
Yeah, of course.
That's love and forgive.
Because ultimately you can't run from the DNA, but you can heal yourself.
For sure. For sure.
Powerful words, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
I'm so gracious and grateful to you for sharing that, right? Taking the time to bless us with your presence. And
Yes, my bro.
if there's a closing statement that you want to say, whatever message it may be, what would that be right now?
Life goes on forevermore.
God bless, bro.
Live it in truth, live it in fulfillment, live it in transparency, live it in honesty, live it in a forgiving, lovingly way, because it never truly ends. The spirit live forever. Love yourself and allow that love to radiate on those who you can't even speak to.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Powerful words, man.
So no closing.
I mean, such
continuation.
This is beautiful.
Yeah,
such a representation of who you are as a person, man. It's what I said. I'm so grateful to you for being a friend, a brother, a guiding light, man.
Same
a
way.
beautiful spirit, bro. You're always there for me in the times of needs and
Of course.
not.
Likewise.
You have helped my ass
moments.
through the most treacherous moments. We've been through a lot, man. And I'm appreciative of you just taking the time to come and bless us with your presence, bro. This is hands down far and away my favorite episode yet. I'm excited to put this out into the world, and I'm very excited for the new music that's coming at the top of the year. Of course,
because you're involved. You're
exactly, man. I'm very excited, bro.
To respect my bro, and I have to give you that love and admiration, right? But
thank you, bro.
This person is very devoted, very pure. If you ever get the blessing and the opportunity of being around Seeno and him being involved in your life at any capacity, it won't be anything short than a blessing and a gift from God.
Thank you,
bro.
bro.
And I'm very proud of you, all the adversities, everything that you overcome in your life, where you're at in your life currently, where your life is leading you.
Thank you, brother.
And love.
I love you, man. Thank you for joining us, bro.
Small talk sucks.
God bless you. See you next time.
Love.